Right, welcome to this video about varnish. It's a very common question that I get on the channel. People ask quite often, what varnish do you use? And it's been a long experience of using different varnishes on figures. I've tried a lot of different ones, and for the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 years, I've settled on one particular varnish. I'd highly recommend it. You do have to be careful what varnish you use. If you get the wrong one, you can ruin the paint job on your figures. I've done that before, so you do have to be very careful. So this video may not seem very significant, but it is very, very important that you use the right varnish on your figures. I used to use matte spray from the artist shop. It's the same stuff they use to coat sort of watercolours. That was all right. It went on okay, but after a short time, I began to discover that it wasn't sticking on particular. It started to peel off. So as I said, you have to be very careful what varnish you use. There's two that I've been using in recent years. Army Painter do an anti-shine matte varnish. I had used that almost exclusively for quite a few years, but I've found that as good as it is, it can leave your figures looking very, very matte indeed. And that's all right for some figures, but when you've got things like metallics, so these blood angels here with the gold arm, you want the armour to sort of shine, then a very strong anti-shine varnish can spoil that, can make them look very misty, very flat. So it's looking for a varnish that's got the right balance between matte, because you don't want glossy figures, and also you want a little bit of shine, so that things like armour, especially metallics, look rich and stand out. Now, I've got no connection to Games Workshop. They're not asking me to say this, but I have decided on Purity Seal by Games Workshop. I would say it is the best stuff that you can use. But there are a couple of tips attached to that, ways to spray with Purity Seal that can make quite a difference with your figures. You can use the same product, but if you don't use it right, again, you can make a mess of your figures. So I use Purity Seal. It is almost like a satin. It says here a satin finish, and that's what it is. So I'll give you a couple of close-ups in a second. You'll see that it's not flat matte, but it's not a glossy finish. And yet for things like metallics, it just gives them a nice sheen and richness to them, which is very important to give that rich colour look to your figures. I'll give you some close-ups and you can see the kind of results that you can get. Right, so there's a Furioso Dreadnought. That's been sprayed using the Purity Seal. And you can see, I'm just tilting it in the light there. There's a slight sheen to it, satin. It's not glossy by any means, but it just gives that richness to the colours, which I think really helps. I roll it round here, and you can see the metallics. They're not dead flat. There's a richness to them, and that helps a lot. I'll show you the gold here on this armour. It has a nice sheen to it. And it doesn't really affect the other colours. You know, other colours that aren't metallic, it doesn't affect them in a way that they become glossy, but it gives a nice richness to the metallics. And then here is the recent Sanguinary Priest. I think the varnish just strikes that balance between enhancing the metals on your figure, but also giving a satin / matte finish to your other colours. Right, so the key that I've found is the distance that you spray from and the amount that you spray, and this is very important. So you're looking to spray sort of, I would say, between about 20 centimetres away. And then when you spray, it is short, small bursts. If you do a heavy spray on a figure, even the Purity Seal, there is a chance that it will go a solid matte colour. And your figure will go misty. You'll get a misty white kind of film over it if you spray too heavily. So I found with Purity Seal, the lightest of coats is best. Often one very light coat is all I use now, not very much at all. Good thing about that is you'll stretch your purity seal, it'll last a long time. There's no need to give heavy coats for them on your figures. So I give a short spray. I'm not actually going to respray this one, but it'll be a short spray across like that, and then that is about it. Then rotate the figure around, and again, just watching the figure to make sure you've covered, the base, the back, and the top, and then across, and that's it. And roll it around. And if you give it a light coat, you'll see that it starts to dry straight away, and you'll have that satin finish on your figure. There's no need to go any heavier than that. And as I said, if you do go too heavy, then it'll actually become cloudy and it'll look terrible. Once you've clouded up a figure, you may have to just repaint and retouch it up. So it's not a good route to go down. So the best thing to do is just to do light amounts. It's best if you put a small amount on. You can always add more rather than putting too much on, and then you've ruined it. So small amounts, and as you see it dry, you'll see that satin effect coming on. That's the best advice I can give about varnish. The purity seal is what I recommend. It's the best for Citadel miniatures, especially with so many of the Games Workshop figures. It's flat, areas of matte mixed with areas of metal throughout a lot of the factions and unit types. So that's what I recommend. Leave your comments if you've had experience with different varnishes, what ones are good, which ones aren't. That's my take on it. And that's experience, I'd say maybe 20 years experience of painting. I would say that the purity seal would be the best. But that's the tip there. I hope it helps you out. Nothing worse than having spent ages painting a figure and then you spray it wrong with the matte varnish and then your figure's ruined. So I hope that helps you out. Thanks for watching and tune in next time.